I'm Elki from Interior Elegance, and I'm here with Marisela.
Hello.
And she's been with me for 2.5 years. To start, we are going to describe all the different parts of the Easy Spring Plus. We begin with the 3 different sizes of the springs that we have. And in the brochure for the Rolly system, it tells you what is the size of the spring and what is the minimum board size that you will require if you were to use each of these individual 3 sizes. We have the track, okay? We have the tube, okay? Again, it's the spring stopper. We have the brackets, okay? Now the brackets are universal. We don't have a right and a left. They both look the same, so they are universal brackets. We have the mounting brackets, and this we're going to be utilizing when we are mounting it onto the board with these mounting brackets, okay? We have what is called the winder tool. This is what's going to wind or activate the spring, okay? And we will have things like the clips that we're going to need. We have our ring for the pull ring, and I like to hide all my cords in this condenser. One of the things that I'm very, very methodical about is using the proper tools for the job. And I have my drill, and I prefer to use hex head screws. It's a little bit easier for me to just attach it with my drill instead of the other screws. Once you have your board width calculated, we will cut the track 1 inch less than that board width measurement. In this particular example, my board width is 26. 26 minus 1 inch, we will cut the track at 25. You will be cutting your tube 1 3/8 less than the track. My track was 25 minus 1 3/8 means that you will be having 23 5/8. Okay, let me orient you a little bit on the spring mechanism. You will notice this gold knob. You will notice that it has ridges. In this wheel, there is a little keyway, kind of like a notch right there. And also at the end, we have a notch. In the stopper, we also have the same keyways in the wheel, in these areas. And in this area, we have the ridges, okay? But you will notice that in the stopper, you do not have that little gold ball. So now we're going to begin to insert our spring, making sure that you are aware of the keyway. Slide your spring, move your wheel if you need to in order to make sure that it's inserted into the keyway area. When we're getting into the head of the spring, it is extremely important that the ball goes in between the keyway. Extremely important. And sometimes if you have a little difficulty that it doesn't slide easily, it is perfectly normal to just put it against your table and just push it in. If that's not possible, you can also feel free to take a little piece of wood, place it against your tube, and just give it a couple of hits, okay? Once you have inserted the spring into the tube, in my workroom, I immediately place a sticker to where my spring is, because it's very easily to confuse yourself which side is the spring side or which side is the stopper side. So as soon as I put it in, I take my label and I mark my spring side. Next, we are going to be inserting our stopper. It's going to be going into the other side. The stopper is what is going to enable you to set your upper and lower limits. When you receive the stopper, it will be in the closed position. So you will open it up to your index finger width. In the previous instructions of setting up the stop plate, you have to be involved with a lot of revolutions and numbers and sizes. This is a simpler way. And yes, I'm aware that different people will have different width. It really doesn't matter. You just want to be able to open your plate to the width of the index finger. Okay, so now we're inserting our stopper into the tube. Again, as a reminder, be aware of your keyway. The first area, the first keyway, second keyway, and when you're placing this area, remember this is the bracket that doesn't have any gold knob, so you will be able to put any of these ridges in between the keyway, any of them. Next, we need to wind the spring. We're going to be winding our spring in a clockwise motion until it cannot wind anymore. Every so often, you may want to take your finger and just make sure that you are pushing the winder tool in so that you do not lose the motion. And you will notice that as you're winding, it's going to become a little harder and harder, and you're going to be doing it slower because the spring is getting tightened inside the tube. Okay, so I am still winding. I feel it. You could even begin to feel that you cannot go anymore. Okay, that is becoming very hard to follow. At this point, we go back about 3 revolutions, go forward for a quarter turn to lock our system in position. And you can see that it just comes right out, and the spring is locked into that position. Next, we're going to be setting the rail with the brackets. Slide the bracket onto the rail, and you will see the openings for the 2 screws. At this point is where I like to use the hex head. Next, place the tube into the bracket. I'm going to use my helper. I place it at the end of my table or at this area of my table so that it can prevent my track from sliding off. Put your tube into the bracket. We will be sliding the next bracket, and if you carefully need to slide your tube a little bit in order to engage it, you can do that. Take the hex head and you screw. And we have our Easy Spring Plus put together. Okay. Next, we're going to be attaching the clips onto the tube. To attach this string, there are 2 holes in the clips, a larger one and a smaller one. You will take your cord from under into the larger hole, over into the smaller hole. Grab it and just do a knot or a crossover, and this string is really strong. The clip's placement needs to be offset by 2 inches from the column of rings. So if this is 3 inches, offset the 2 inches, my placement of my clip is going to be 5 inches from the end. So I will mark it, the 5 inches, on both sides. When you grab your clip, you want to have your cord coming out at the 5-inch mark. I'm going to be doing the other side, making sure that your cord and you have your mark, and you will be placing your clip. The cord is coming out at the 5-inch mark. Make sure that your clips are aligned so that the cords are at the same point on the tube. It is always better if we can have an uneven amount of clips so that you can utilize your center as your pull ring. You will be marking your center, which in this particular shade is 12.5. Remember that we need to offset the clip by 2 inches. In the center clip, it doesn't matter where you want to put that clip. It could be to the right or it could be to the left. So I am going to just put it in this situation to my left. So I will mark 2 inches, pick up my clip, making sure the alignment of your clips is the same. I have discovered that when I place my center clip, if I give my cord an extra rotation, the functionality of the Easy Spring Plus is so much better. What I mean by that is that once I place my clip, the cord, you see the cord that was coming out from either side? You want to have an extra rotation of cord over the tube into the face of your shade. So it's over. When the shade is down, the clips, the right and the left, the cords are coming from right under the clip. In the center clip, I would like my cord, to have an extra rotation. So you will add the extra rotation over the tube before you place them on the rings. Let me show you how I mounted the track onto the board. I utilize the mounting brackets, and I like to place the plastic tab of the mounting bracket towards the back of my board. So when I activate to release it, you see how it just very easily, it comes down and you can just remove it. If you're facing your shade and it's installed already in the window and you need to access the track, just press from behind the plastic tab and it comes out. I'm going to be setting my upper limits. This is the spring side, and how do I know that? Because I had marked it with my sticker. The stopper is always opposite to your spring. So this is my stopper. This is the adjuster wheel. I will raise my shade. For this example, I want my shade to stop here. You will grab the tube, hold the adjuster wheel, and you want to turn it clockwise until it stops, until you cannot go any further. I'm trying, and it still does not go any further. Lower it, and that's my new limit set. Let's say I want to just go a little bit higher. So I will come counterclockwise. And as you can see, the shade is automatically being raised. When I hold the tube and try to move it, turn it clockwise, it's not allowing me to go any further because it's already into that new position. That's the new position. So we managed to set our upper limits. As I'm testing my shade, it's going up way too fast. So I want to be able to release the tension and the shade a little bit. Looking at the side of your shade, okay, because this is my spring side. When you're looking at the side of your shade, you will establish clockwise, which is towards the back of your shade, counterclockwise towards the front of your shade. To make something tighter, which we already have our shade set to the tightest setting, because when we were setting up our spring at the very beginning with the winding tool, remember that we went all the way to the end and came back about 3 revolutions. So the tension is to the max. But this tension, depending upon your shade, it may be too strong. So I want to be able to loosen the tension. So if to increase the tension is clockwise, to decrease the tension is counterclockwise. And in this method, you do not have to hold the tool. Just wind the adjuster wheel counterclockwise. So I'm going up counterclockwise towards the front of your shade. Let's test it. Oh, this is a little softer. Let's say I want it even a little more. Counterclockwise. And you see, it's very soft.